We're here at the College of Muscogee Nation, just outside of Okmulgee, and joining me is Brandon Gibson, who is with the Yuchi Butterfly Farm and also the Tribal Alliance for Pollinators?
Yes. Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're a botanist, and we're going to talk about some of the pollinator plants that you have here, it looks like.
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff blooming right now, a lot of different color, which I like. So that's something that we factor in when we do a lot of these pollinator plantings, is that we want the widest swath of color bloom times, because we're not just planting one single flower for one particular butterfly. We need to cover the entire ecosystem essentially, and so that's what we're kind of doing here. And we got a really nice tobacco plant here. This is Nicotiana tabacum. This is a cultivated tobacco. It's an annual. And so it's an annual, but it acts pretty much like a perennial because of how many seeds this thing will produce. The thousands and thousands and thousands of seeds.
So be careful where you plant it, right?
Kind of, yeah. I like it a lot.
But it's got so many tubular flowers, so you know
Yeah.
that's going to be a great pollinator plant too.
Absolutely. Hummingbirds go crazy over this, a lot of butterflies. I even see a lot of the leafcutter bees. They'll burrow their way into the top, and so they're even utilizing those flowers, the bees that don't have that long proboscis essentially, but they're still able to get nectar from it. I really like this plant, even though it's not technically an Oklahoma native. It's a really great plant for if you're a tomato gardener. You ever get those tomato hornworms all over your tomatoes? They love this instead of the tomatoes.
Oh, okay, so it's going to be like a trap plant for them.
Yes, absolutely. And so we have all of these big old fat caterpillars all over these, and the moss look really pretty, and so we don't want to neglect those moss either. And so providing food and sort of bait plants so where we can coexist in a nice little garden setting is mainly what I use this plant for.
Well, it's already kind of late into the summer and you've got a lot blooming still, which is impressive, including this cardinal flower.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite plants. This is definitely a staple plant that we grow every single year. And you know, this particular plant is from Osage County out near the tallgrass prairie area, so think Pawhuska.
Okay.
And that's another big point about what we do for our organization, is that I can tell you exactly where in Oklahoma all of these plants were collected from natively. And so the cardinal flower, like I said, is from Pawhuska area. The blue vervain, that is from Tulsa County. The cut plant is from Moreland, Oklahoma. And this is one of my favorite plants. It's another staple that we grow at the farm every single year. The scientific name would be Silphium perfoliatum. And that perfoliatum part of the species name is actually telling us quite a bit about the plant. So if you look at the stem of the plant, the leaves will actually fully encompass around the stalk. And so that's perfoliate. And so in botanical terms, perfoliate means wrapping around that stem. And so that's where it's getting its name from, cup plant, because after a rain, you can go and look at that stem and there will be literally a cup of water there. And so I've seen birds use that and utilize it to get a drink of water. And so it's not only a great nectar plant, but it's also a great plant just for birds to get some natural water. Right?
And that's fascinating because a lot of times we think that a plant is just utilized for the pollinator aspect of it, but therefore it's holding water for them as well.
Right, yeah. And so there's so many different great relationships between a lot of these native plants and the pollinators that is really easy to sometimes just walk by real quick. You know, looking at the tiny sweat beads that are pollinating the frog fruit back there, you know, they're utilizing those frog fruit flowers because morphologically they're not able to utilize something as, say, tobacco flower. And so it's important again to have not only different colors but different sizes of flowers, because we're trying to service all of these pollinators, not just monarchs. Not that we don't love monarchs, but we can do a greater overall effort if we can encompass everybody in the entire picture. So
absolutely. So we know they're doing well here in Oklahoma. They're not just said to be native to here.
Yeah. So all of our seed banks and the plants that we provide, they're all natively collected from Oklahoma. We don't order any of our stuff. So if someone like an elder comes to me and is looking for some medicinal plant, I just pretty much got to figure out where it's at in the world and go and collect it and then propagate that for them, and then we give them nice little gardens like this, so where they can collect their own seeds. We can show them how to actually grow it out, because there is some finicky processes with some of these native plants, such as the cardinal flower needing sunlight, which a lot of people don't think about, that some seeds will actually need exposure to sunlight rather than what we've been taught growing up, where you always bury a seed and then you water it. But some of these actually do need sunlight, and so during the end of this season, we're going to come through and spread out some more of this cardinal flower, probably spread some around the ponds around here. And so just trying to make this more and more robust, because it's a beautiful plant. I like it a lot.
And this is just the first season, right?
Yes. And so all of these were grown from seed this year. And so This is only probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago since we planted a majority of this stuff. We have some in kind of different stages. Obviously the big tall one's doing really well, but we have more back there that are going to be still blooming probably in about another month. They've been really taking off the past month, I would say. And so it's just going to cultivate more and more and grow out more and more, which will be really nice.
Well, I love this partnership that you guys have created. Tell me a little bit. So obviously you have a wealth of information. So you help with the education programs that they do here at their gardens?
Yeah, so we're doing sort of a relationship right now with the college from the Muscogee Butterfly Farm and Tribal Alliance for Pollinators. So I'll be out here every week, 2 times a week, Monday and Wednesday. And so just providing information like we're talking about right now, as well as different methods for sort of smart agricultural reasons. And so going forward, talking about rain barrels, conserving water, utilizing native plants to conserve water, talk about burning a lot, because burning is a very core component of Oklahoma's grassland systems. And so those kind of get underlooked, but it's a crucial part of the ecosystem. So having whoever really wants to come out here, there's no restrictions. You don't have to be a student or an employee or anything. If you want to learn about native plants, how to grow them, you can just come here and I'll help you out whatever way I can.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.